Well, the dream has been realized. It's been nearly 50 years, and it's about time. Cornell has won the national championship. Their fourth title. You know, first title in over 48 years. CJ Kirst, he's broken records. He's done it all. He didn't have the greatest performance, the first couple rounds of this tournament. He didn't have the greatest performance. Penn State got locked up, didn't do anything, no points, no nothing. 6 goals today, and you know, I mean, Knuskin goal, was absolutely magnificent. The rest of Cornell's offense, absolutely magnificent. I mean, it's just wow, man. Wow. What a game. 13-10. Gillette, is looking pretty good. What an incredible game. The Tawarton is CJ he's he's going to be in the PLL. He's going to be in the NLL. He's going to be doing all sorts of different things, over the next couple weeks, whatnot. I mean, it's just incredible. It's just incredible. What a performance by this Cornell offense. And John Tillman is like, what in the world happened today? What happened? What do we do wrong today? Well, first thing that went wrong was, again, not stopping, Kirst when you need to, you know what I'm saying? The double team was not working. There was guys that, they were able to get stuff off. It's also the turnovers that really kind of doomed the Terps today. Some weird ones too. The turnovers were awful. Not being able to clear, not getting the ball. Just in places that it needed to be. And again, this Maryland group all around with Spanos and McNaney, they did their best, but ultimately their best wasn't good enough. And it's crazy how we got a 1 versus 2 matchup for the first time in 20 years in the national title game. Crazy. But that's how it is, and that's how it became. And now Cornell is back on top of the world. Good for them. It is amazing. It was an amazing story, with also, the whole the storyline of, a player from back in which again, I wasn't around, watching lacrosse like that back in the 2000s. I didn't even know this story, But yeah, Ithaca is going to have that CJ Kirst statue, ready to go. I mean, just, it's beautiful. Beautiful game. That's how lacrosse is supposed to be played. Just a fantastic game. Can't say the same for the women's game, however, too easy for North Carolina. They go unbeaten. They defeat Northwestern. What was it, 12-8, 12-7? I think it was 12-7. Hold up. Let me check things, man. I think it was 12-7. I didn't really watch this game at all. The problem, with the women's game is that it was just yeah, it was 12-8. I got it right. Yeah. So, it was just like, oh, well, this is very much top heavy. The top 4 seeds all made it to the semifinals. It was 5 unseeded. It was 5 seeded teams and 3 unseeded on the women's side in the quarterfinals. Which let me say something real quick. Why aren't the men's quarterfinals all on the same day? Why do we have to have it 2 separate days? I want it on the same day. We all know that it's going to be in Charlottesville next year, in Virginia, in Klockner, next year. So, yeah, I'm still kind of trying to, get my place into it. And of course, those Buffalo Bandits defeated the Saskatchewan Rush to win their 3rd straight NL title. Dominant performance in game 3. Games 1 and 2 were very, very close. 1-goal games in each, but Buffalo, was too much in the 3rd game. the Rush went 30 minutes plus without scoring. And I kind of get on the teams that do not, don't score for over 30 plus minutes, man. And it's like, yeah, bro, what was that? What was that? I don't know what that was. I don't like that, but it happened. It certainly happened. So, yeah, Josh Byrne, Dane Smith, Ian McKay, who was the MVP, just everything was beautiful And now Cursed is a CJ Cursed is a Philadelphia Water Dogs. So, there you go. And again, like I said, he'll be likely playing, very, very soon, baby. He'll be playing very, very soon. And the PLL rosters are, about to be set. Basically, they should be set at this point, if I'm not mistaken. I know some of them are, but not all of them. Lots of retirements, lots of guys moved around, like Rob Pinnell's on the Whip Snakes and everything like that. A lot of rookies, just kind of doing their thing, ready to go, because a lot of guys retired from the PLL. A lot of guys are, ready. The PLL is kind of shooken up this year. The season begins Friday night, so we are not done with lacrosse just yet, baby. We still have a long way to go, a long way to go. And the PLL is going to be yet another exciting season. I'm so glad that, there's at least something. We at least get something, It's going to be beautiful this year. And my thoughts, a lot of defending champion games are going to be on ABC. You know what I'm saying? A lot of the games between the defending champs, the Utah Archers, are going to be on ABC. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be real, real fun. Or, maybe, on ESPN2. A lot of ESPN2 games. Couple of ESPN games in there, But that Saturday night lacrosse thing that PLL is trying to do is, happening. It's going to happen. It's going to be beautiful. We have another, 16 game slate on tap for, broadcast purposes and everything like that. I do not count the All-Star games. There will be a WLL All-Star game, which that has already happened. The selections and stuff had already been announced. It's going to be 10 on 10. It's going to be traditional lacrosse for the WLL All-Star game. And again, that's in KC, and that'll be on the 4th of July, the women's All-Star game. And then the men's will be Saturday afternoon, which, again, I'm not going to be watching that, let's just keep it 150%. I do not like All-Star games. One semifinal as usual, and then the championship will be actually pretty early. It'll be early. It'll be at 12:30 Eastern time on, September the 14th. Which, again, rather have the championship and semis much earlier, but you know what? Trying to, get those ABC slots while you can, in the later portion of the calendar because of, Little League, Little League World Series, everything like that. But, it is what it is. So I can't really complain too much about it. I'm glad the game's a little bit earlier. It starts before the football starts, and, you can just feast on football afterwards. So I don't really have a PLL prediction, as far as like, who in the world's going to win the championship? I don't know because I haven't looked at these rosters very much. A lot of rookies got drafted. In fact, a lot of these rookies were playing, this past weekend in the national championship semifinals and everything like that. So, it's going to be intriguing for teams that, didn't, get to the national championship. Notre Dame got denied a three-peat. Thank God. We only get to see one three-peat, and that was Buffalo, and that was just inevitable at this point. I don't think anybody was going to stop Bandit Land, from getting that three-peat. Saskatchewan, as hard as they fought and as talented as that roster was with Church and everything like that, that just wasn't enough. Duke, I did not expect Duke to get far. Richmond got farther than I thought they would, but again, they did beat North Carolina, though. Syracuse really, Joey Spallina, and company. I thought this was going to be the team that was going to take on Cornell, but no, Maryland has said, no, we're not doing all that, and decided to shut them down, which again, all around number one defense in the nation. They did their best against the number one offense today. But ultimately that wasn't good enough, and that's why Cornell has walked out with the title. Penn State, was close too, but again, could not get past Cornell at the end. And again, Cornell had struggled throughout the tournament a little bit. Albany, they couldn't score, as many goals as they would like. Richmond, they couldn't score as many goals as they'd like. Penn State, they couldn't either, but they were able to muster up 13 today, against Maryland. And that's how they won a national championship behind C.J. Kirst, the number one pick, the PLO draft. He's definitely winning the awards, and first team All-American, national champion. The list goes on and on. Congratulations to the Big Red. Congratulations to the Buffalo Bandits. Congratulations to the North Carolina Tar Heels. And congratulations, to us lacrosse fans. We continue to feast on lacrosse. Coming up, this upcoming weekend, again, it will be the Maryland Whip Snakes and the Utah Archers on ABC this Saturday afternoon at 1 o'clock Eastern Time, 12 Central on ABC. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be fun. I cannot wait. I'm ready for the PLL season. It's a shame. We're going to have to, I'm going to cry a little bit because, we don't have college lacrosse again until 2026. But, hey, I'm hoping and I'm praying that we continue to get this sport, going up, it's going to be a beautiful time, when those ratings and stuff come out, for the next upcoming couple weeks and everything like that. I cannot wait again for the PLL season. Again, I'm excited. Don't have any predictions. Of course, there's ball up north, in Canada, but again, I'm not talking about that this year. So, I'll see you all in a couple weeks. It'll be, the Sunday or Monday after, the UFL Conference Championships. It'll either be that Sunday or Monday. I don't know which day I said it was going to be. I don't know which day I put in my schedule, but, that's when I'll talk to you again about, PLL so far and everything like that. And, yeah, I'm out. Hope you enjoy the rest of your Memorial Day and, all those vets, that have died for us, hope y'all are resting safe and peacefully. Good day and good night, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow for This Week in Indoor Football.